Hi guys, welcome to the Safe Community Podcast.
Episode number?
I don't know.
It's alright. Yeah, keep going.
I don't know numbers.
It's okay, you're doing alright.
5.
Like 5 or something, I don't know. Where every week we get together and talk about video games. This is Thomas Shelby.
Hello.
I'm Shanae Howard.
I like the Thomas.
Thanks.
That's what they call me at work.
I'm Shanae Howard, and this is Ryan Robinson.
Full disclosure, this is the second episode we're recording today.
Not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has already gone off the rails.
Sure.
I just like being transparent.
I hate it.
Yeah. So like I said, every week we get together and talk about video games or video game related stuff.
Yeah.
Start the show. What games are y'all excited about? Are you going to be playing relatively soon?
So, I still haven't played Resident Evil 2, although by the time this airs, I imagine I will have beaten it.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Did you buy it already?
No, I have no money because I spent it all on equipment, but I will soon. This week I will probably buy it.
If you guys aren't too sleepy after this, I'm planning on setting up the Putris and doing a little bit of stream scram.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
A little slip and slide.
Yeah, I like that.
Little slap shots. Yeah, Resident Evil 2. That's what I'm probably the most excited for. Also, Pray for the Gods finally entered early access.
That's about time.
So I'll probably be dipping into that.
I don't remember what your feelings about early access are.
I'm not usually against it, but like sometimes it's okay.
Okay.
What about you, Ryan? Anything you're going to be playing new soon? Or you're like looking forward to?
I gotta say, the game that I'm most looking forward to right now is Mortal Kombat 11. I'm really excited about that game. Before we're recording, Tom and I were talking a lot about what we've liked about Mortal Kombat and what kind of changes we can expect to see in this new one. I'm really excited to play that game.
Yeah.
And also, I was excited for Anthem before, but now not so much.
Berto's been playing that a lot lately.
Yeah.
And
Does he feel like Iron Man?
Yeah.
He's really enjoying it. But yeah. I, as most people know, am playing Kingdom Hearts right now.
But that's not coming out soon.
But after I finish that, I'm gonna start diving deep into Atomies again. I already have like a bunch of my list. I don't know which ones I'm gonna play first. I'm really happy that a lot more are coming to Switch since this is a console I have, unlike the PS Vita. So
you can take your boyfriends to work.
Oh, speaking of portable, I'm super psyched for Q2, but like.
Oh yeah, I've been reading a lot about that.
Part of me thinks I should play 5 first, so yeah.
Did you play Q1?
Yes, I sitting in my living room. Yeah.
Nice. That's 3DS.
3DS, yeah.
Which
is a shame, but.
Yeah, like you have it on cartridge.
Yeah, but I prefer it on Switch.
Yeah, can I borrow that from you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to play that.
Oh, he can borrow that, but I can't borrow your Vita. Got it.
I feel like it's a more substantial borrow. Also, buy your own Vita. Yeah,
it's been like 2 years now.
Yeah, you're gainfully employed. So.
If you like Etrian, Etrianazi, you can probably like the Persona Q games.
Yeah.
So
I like Persona. That's what I know.
But yeah, I'm just looking forward to I'm taking my time with Kingdom Hearts. Because I've been waiting for this game for 13 years. I'm gonna try to enjoy every second of it. But yeah.
Loving every minute of it.
Yeah, but I also.
You know that song?
Loving every minute of it. Yeah, loving every minute of it.
But yeah, before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, and in between, after beating God of War and all the previous Kingdom Hearts games, I've been going back and playing a lot of my old ones that I have on my PC and playing some new ones on my phone. So I'm excited to see.
We still gotta play that Root Letter. I want to play that with you.
Yeah. So I'm just excited about that.
I just need to know what a $60 Otomi is.
Hopefully good.
Yeah.
Hopefully so many boyfriends.
Sure.
A lot of really nice dialogue, very little spelling errors. I don't know. I don't know what else would.
I mean, you expect a lot of features for your $60.
Yeah.
I mean, some people do.
That's sure.
But yeah, this week we are going to be talking about games that do things differently.
Sure.
Specifically, like game narratives and stories that you really don't see in like a lot of other games or any other games.
Expect a lot of spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
So we will. I say we say the rule now of the game that we're going to be talking about before we start talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just in case like that is something that you want to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plug your ears,
You
babies.
can like skip ahead or something. I don't know. Figure it out.
I mean, I guess the games that I want to talk about, you guys probably don't have a lot to say because I don't think you guys have played any of them.
Yeah.
No.
At least not to completion.
I feel like the three of us, like, our tastes are vastly different.
Right. But like they all talk about things that I've not seen other games talk about, or at least I can't recall other games talk about. So like, Celeste is about anxiety. And like I think it handles it okay, you know, like Madeline, I think is her name. She's got like this. There's like an evil one, you know, and like obviously that's like they're both her. You know?
That's her other end.
Right. They're both her. And you know, her climbing Celeste, the mountain of Celeste, is kind of just like, you know, her getting over this whole thing. It's all very symbolic. It's all and like. I like that they're touching on anxiety because I can't think of another game that has. I don't know if you guys can.
No.
I know games that cause anxiety.
Sure, but I don't think that they touch on it like very well. Like I didn't feel anything when I finished Celeste. You know,
Yeah.
I like it. It's a fun game. It's cute. The storytelling is cute. The writing is good.
Right.
I don't know why it had to be a game. You know.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Like, I feel like that story could have been told in a cute little comic book, and I would have gotten the same thing from it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems to me, and I haven't played Celeste to completion, but from the outset, they assure you, like, hey, you can do this.
And that's one thing the game does very well.
Yeah, and I think that, conveying, because that seems like a message that they just want everybody to have for themselves.
Right.
And I think part of the experience of Celeste is proving to yourself that yes, you can overcome those challenges. So.
And I will say this, right? Like, Celeste is in the same genre of precision 2D platformers as games like Slime Sun or Super Meat Boy. I didn't finish Slime Sun or Super Meat Boy. I finished Celeste because of that positivity, you know, because of that encouragement.
Yeah. Not speaking ironically here, but like, did it make you feel good?
I mean, I don't know that it made me feel good, but like, it definitely made me more willing to do the same section over and over and over again. You know, like by the time I beat the game, it counts your deaths.
Yeah.
I died like damn near 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I don't know. I just can't think of another game that talks about anxiety. Probably the two biggest ones I want to talk about is The Missing, which deals with being transgendered and depression that comes with that, and self-mutilation.
Yeah. I think, and self-harm seems to be like the central, like it's a mechanic. In
yeah, it's a gameplay mechanic.
Yeah.
I mean, which is pretty, like, according to a lot of statistics, it's pretty common with gender dysphoria.
Yeah, and like, I can think of other games that have self-harm as a gameplay mechanic. I mean,
Voodoo Vince.
Killer 7 does it, you know, but in a very different way.
Yeah.
And the writing in The Missing, like, sweary games, they're very fucking strange. Like, all of them are weird as hell.
Yeah.
They're always low budget, and they always, like, make nods to Twin Peaks, and that's what you're going to get from his games, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, this is the first time that he's made a game where it's like, The Missing might be my favorite game of 2018, like, more so than Tetris Effect, even. And The Missing's a bad game. Like, it's not a very good game. The puzzles aren't great. The voice acting's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Visually, it looks okay.
Yeah.
You know? but like the writing is so good, and it's doing something that no other game that I can think of ever has in what it's talking about.
Right.
You know, the writing's believable. Like you have your phone and you're getting texts from different people. You know, people who are interested in you, people that you might be interested in, your mother, one of your professors, and like
Your stuffed animal.
your stuffed animal, and like it's all the writing is like it's how I text.
Right.
You know, it's very believable.
And that's hard to do, I think. You know, especially if when you're writing like someone of a different age group than you.
Yeah.
Because I think that you know, especially like if you're you know a 40-year-old writing dialogue or text conversations of a 14-year-old, and you remember how you talked as a 14-year-old, but like that's different than what's going on now.
Well, not only that, right? Like you're a grown man writing from the perspective of a teen, maybe early 20s.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's at university, so like yeah.
Late teen, early 20s.
Who is also trans.
Yeah.
All things that like that's not you.
Yeah.
And you're writing that character so well.
Yeah.
And so respectfully, you know, like so like you know, you're not pulling punches by any means, but like
well, because it's very easily to accidentally be heavy-handed. To the point where it can come off as a joke.
Right.
And so like balancing that in a way that is respectful, and not just respectful, but like actually meaningful and moving it's hard to do.
And like it's funny because like JJ's trans, but like it's written as if it could be anything that makes you different. Right. Like the fact that she is trans isn't really the central focus. It's the fact that she's different.
It's just a thing about her.
And I like that a lot. And I can't think of another game that's done it.
Right.
I'm sure there's probably some random fucking indie game out there that has tried. You know?
Sure.
But I've not played it. I've not heard of it.
Yeah.
So if you've heard of that game, let me know. And then the last game I want to talk about is Stories Untold, which Ryan, you played a good bit of with me.
Yeah.
Stories Untold is a really weird fucking game. It starts off as an old school text adventure, and I don't mean visual novel, like old school text adventure. You type in,
like
go to the front door, open door, use this, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then it changes to different puzzle games. One in which like you're reading schematics for a certain tool in order to operate that tool.
Like you just keep like referencing a manual to do different things.
And each episode is like these weird little vignettes that seem like self-contained stories, right? And it feels like, I mean, it feels like fucking Black Mirror. It's very weird stories that don't quite make sense. But at the end of the game, you realize that it's about drunk driving. And like it hits you fucking hard, and like you see it coming when it's coming, but like you don't see it until that last episode,
right?
And it hits you super fucking hard, and you're just like, at least for me, I was fucking floored, you know.
Is it like similar? Because obviously I have not played it. Is it similar like Heavy Rain at first? That people don't seem to be connected, but then obviously they are.
No,
okay.
No, not at all. I mean, it is all just this one guy, but it's all stuff that's going on through his head as he's like at this clinic, you know.
Okay.
And it's
so is all these
it's like repressed memories of his taking form in like different ways, and it's
so like is each of those little episodes, I guess.
Yeah.
Are they metaphors for something else, or like are these literal memories that we're playing through?
They're very much memories. Like they're distorted, but they are memories.
I mean, your memories are distorted.
Yeah.
It's your own perspective, not like the
but
actual happenings.
like obviously like he's tried to like push these out, right? Like he feels very guilty for these things, and like I don't know if you remember, but like there's this whole thing with like. That like seems like it might be aliens, and there's somebody talking to you the whole time, and like that somebody talking to you is like EMT on the scene, something like that.
Wow.
Like
that's cool.
It's really fucked up and really weird. And as somebody who had addiction problems in the past, you know, who was driven drunk many times, I was like, wow, this game's fucking nuts, you know. And I can't think of another game that talks about that. Not only like specifically drunk driving, but like addiction in any form outside of just being like a throwaway piece of the narrative,
right?
You know.
And I think addiction again is especially like one of the things about experiences like addiction is very often, not always, but very often they're being written about from a secondhand perspective,
right?
Like in the way that like I've never been an addict, but this is what I know being an addict to be.
Yeah.
And it's easy, like especially when you're writing from a secondhand perspective, it's easy to miss the mark on that.
Right, and there's like 1,000 games with like junkies in them or crackheads or whatever, right? Like Condemned, right? There's crackheads fucking scattering all over the place, but like it's not important. It's not the central focus of the game,
Yeah.
So that's all I really want to talk about with you guys is like games with themes that like are very underrepresented, or like you just can't think of another game at all that has them in it. And I know it's kind of hard to think of on the spot something like that. But
I have one. All right.
Go for it.
And I'm actually kind of surprised that you didn't mention this, Tom. But Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice.
It crossed my mind.
I think I remember when I played that game 2 years ago, and I said many times that to me that is the most important game of 2017. And in a year where so many fantastic games came out, Hellblade stood out to me in a way that no game ever has, because I feel like as somebody who has not only battled mental illness but also been there in support of people who also struggle with it, and to have it represented in a way that is like it's respectful, but at the same time it's like it's impactful, right? And it's used and I've seen mental illnesses of all kinds used as a narrative device before,
right?
But not in the way that they did it here. Like it's a narrative device. It's a mechanical device, and it's not gimmicky, but it's realistic, and it is overwhelming. It is unpleasant, but like it has to be, because, and I've said many times, like if you're not playing Hellblade with headphones on, you're missing out.
Right.
Like you're missing out a huge core part of the experience, because Senua is somebody who suffers from schizophrenia, and a big central thing with schizophrenia is hearing voices, and so and those voices don't shut up, like ever, right? And so using that as a narrative as a device to push the story forward and push Senua forward toward what she's trying to do, because it's not just about her battling through that particular struggle, but also her quest for like redemption and coping with loss, and a lot of games do address the idea of loss, but not in the way. Senua is desperate in a way that just felt like it is visceral and like it is impactful. And you have those headphones on, and she's trying to get through all these areas that even now I'm not sure she's actually inhabiting. Like
some yes, some no.
And but you have your headphones on, and like the entire time you're going through it, like those voices don't shut up.
Yeah, like the whole mirrored world thing is not actually happening. Yeah. But like a lot of the stuff with the Norse mythology is actually supposed to be part of that world.
Yeah, and and there are many times where I'm going through these environments, and I'm trying to figure out where to go, and I'm trying to focus my thoughts, but I can't because I have these voices in my ear, and even I do something wrong, and then they taunt me, or they tell me that I'm not good enough, or they tell me how stupid I am, and things like that, and
but that's only some of them.
Yeah. And others are encouraging me and things like that, and it's just, but in all cases it is just overwhelming to the point where it's unpleasant. But I felt connected to Senua, and that I have felt desperate for redemption, or to get over something, or to be able to move past something, or to right some wrong. And feeling inserting myself into that was such a meaningful experience that like it has never been. I have never felt connected to a character in any game before or since, and like that was such a deeply emotional and important experience to me that I'm not sure if I'll have that again. But I'm glad that I spent that 6 hours just sitting there and getting through that with her, because it was really it was not. I don't. And again, like I've told Tom, like I was like, I don't know if I could play through that game again, because it was at points too much. But I'm glad that I did, because it gave me a deeper understanding of, like, I don't suffer from schizophrenia myself, but it gave me it gave me some insight into what those people deal with.
Well, it's not specifically about schizophrenia.
It's not. Like, it's I get it. It's not.
Yeah.
But and again, like just like what's her name from the missing?
JJ.
Yeah. Like it's not like in the way that JJ. It's not about JJ. It's not centrally about her being trans. It is a part of her that is an important part of her.
Yeah, but like with Stonewall, they talk about I don't know if you know, but like they consulted with doctors and patients in the making of this game. I watched the development of this game for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And like the first credits you see here are like doctors.
Yeah.
And it's about like very specific psychosis, not necessarily schizophrenia. With cross chatter, but like I think the biggest thing with Hellblade is like it's like I think the most important characters in that game, of which there are a few, is like Dillian, the mother character, to a lesser extent the dad.
I think the dad it's kind of the foundation for why. Like, I think the dad is kind of the catalyst that set a lot of that shit in motion.
Yeah, but it's like Dillian, the mom, and Hella, right? Which is later revealed to be the same. But like, and like the support that you can get from specific people. Yeah. And why you might push that support away. Yeah. Which I think a lot of people don't understand. Yeah. And the fact that you can get by without that support. Yeah.
But yeah, I think. Hellblade is singular in the kind of narrative that it has woven, and I would like more games to take risks, like the kind of risks that game took with its writing. Well,
it won't come from them anymore because now they're owned by Microsoft.
Yeah, and it was the funny, like a side comment, but like it was just weird, like the way that like. Hellblade is like such a specific kind of game, and like
specific development.
Yeah, specific kind of game, specific development, and like everything. Like there's so much about that game that is just so unique. Yeah. But like, I watched XO 18, and the way that they created that game around was just so weird to me.
Very strange, very strange. And it's funny because Ninja Theory, like they've openly said, we're going to show you how to make a AAA game on a indie budget. Yeah. And they did. Yeah. And they were so proud of that, and so proud that
they was like $100,000.
Yeah, so proud that they were an indie team that made a game that visually is on par with like the best games that were coming out that year. Yeah, and like then they were like, okay, we're part of Microsoft now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Thinking about it, like as far as like themes and stuff, there are like. Part of the thing that like draws me to like Atome games and visual novels is because there's the ability to tell so many connection stories about like how people connect differently.
Well, because that's all it is, right? It's relationships.
That's what it is. Like because that's 100% what it is. And whether you can connect, whether it's somebody that you can even connect to like romantically, like as a love interest, or just have as a side character and as a friend, like there's a lot of differences with those. I've heard about it before. It's a Chariots game called Nameless, the one you must recall. I've done a check it out on it years ago. So like it all like it's the one with the dolls that come to life. And the reason it does is because
Lars and the real girl.
Yeah.
You ever see that?
Yes, I have.
It's based on that Atome. So.
Yeah, it's not.
That's the American adaptation.
No. Well, like, so she was raised by her grandfather, and her grandfather's like the one who got her those toys. Yeah. And he dies, and like her grief is kind of like what. Her grief is like kind of a catalyst to like make them kind of come to life. At least that's how it's originally told. We find out later it's a different reason why. But like with each, like I've lost grandparents, but of course I wasn't raised by them. I wasn't super close to them. Both of my siblings are much closer to my grandparents than I am, and so when they when we experienced deaths, it was much harder for them. And it was also when I was younger, so I didn't really like understand it as much as far as like how hard it can really hit for like a grandparent to die. Like it was sad, but like, and I loved them, but it's just it was a different relationship.
Right.
And with each route that you do with her, like the main character, whose name I can't remember because it always
You
said
can't recall.
I can't recall.
Ironic. You must recall it, though.
But you shan't.
But yeah, like they all have different personalities, and like as they were toys, and I like mentioned it before, like kind of their toy life has like affects who they are as a person. Like one's like a limited edition character, and like so they're like
too fucking good.
Yeah, well, he's like
look at me.
He's like a superhero character, so he's always like
fucking tickle me elbow.
So he's always like just like super high energy, like really happy, whatever. But of course, like he has like some insecurities later. But like all of the love interests all deal with like she deals with her grief with her grandfather's loss while also like making a connection with these people or dolls or whatever. And it's different ways depending on which like love interest you pick.
Right.
Because like her personality kind of caters to whatever you're interested in, because that's what makes more sense as far as like writing in those games. And I don't know. I kind of I know like there's like a lot of autonomy games that have like parental figures that are like, you know, dismissive of you or not in the picture, or even parental figures that have died somewhat recently.
Sure.
But none were kind of like to that sentimental level that like Nameless was. And I don't know. I thought it was really nice, and it's something that I haven't experienced, but like to that level. But I thought was really nice to see.
That's cool. Like especially considering all the games Ryan and I listed are like super downers for the most part.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
The other one I want to talk about is kind of a downer too.
Yeah, and then also doing things differently, just on as like a game story, but it's not a downer as well.
Yeah.
Is another one, like it's also by the same company, Chariots. It's Mystic Messenger. It's unique.
Oh, I remember you talking. You did check it out on that one too.
Yeah, it's unique in the fact that like you get messages throughout the day.
Right.
And like you respond to them, and if you haven't responded to the right time, then that goes away, and you don't get a chance to interact with it unless you pay money towards it. And
just like IRL.
And then you can go back and have that conversation. But at the end of it, it goes super crazy, and you find out like about like underground organizations and like this plot to like take over the world.
Yeah.
It's like it goes super nutso from like.
This is no Tomy we're talking about?
Yes. And I would like to see more shit like that. Just go off the rails at the end. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of games that touch on stuff like that, right? But, like, that's more so in that genre. You don't see that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, or at all, probably.
What, going off the rails to take over the world?
Yeah.
No.
I think that, I feel like we talked a little, I mentioned a little while ago, like, I want to see, like, Tom said, he's like, I want to see what a $60 Otomi is. I'd like a plot twist like that in a $60 Otomi.
Yeah. Yeah,
because the whole like group chat that you somehow come across, they are like a group, and they like hold parties and like connect people and do all these things that are supposed to like be bringing better things into the world. And then I don't know, like some serums happen, and there's like a second organization and like fake
deaths.
There's
an Eyes Wide Shut party.
There's like a fake death.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I know you do, Tom.
Yeah, it was fun.
You know, another one that comes to mind for me is Bioshock.
I'm assuming you're talking about the first one.
Well, kind of. I guess, like, as a whole, really. Maybe not so much the second one, because there weren't a lot of story beats in the second one that really stood out to me.
Minerva's Den, man.
But so the first Bioshock is it all hinges on that plot twist at the end. And
yeah, would you kindly?
Yeah, would you kindly? And the way that like it's kind of hard for me to really even 12 years later, it's hard for me to put into words exactly the way I want to describe it, but like the fact that like the story is being told to you in a way that that's like it's part environmental storytelling with like how fucked up Rapture is, and then there's the audio logs that you may or may not find or may not pick up,
or may not pay attention to.
Yeah, which like you definitely should, because like a lot of it gives you like better context as to like, especially like when we're talking about like Adam and the splicers and the little sisters and all that shit. Like those audio logs give a lot of context to all of that, and it makes it, because I feel like without it, like most of that stuff doesn't really make sense.
I feel like in the first Bioshock, that stuff doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah.
And all the stuff with Ryan and all that, like, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's not what that game is about. You know what that game is about from the first 20 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
You know, is a man not entitled by the sweat of his own brow, all of that shit, right? No, says the man in Moscow, belongs to the government, you know.
Yeah.
No, says the Vatican, it belongs to God, right?
Yeah.
Like, that whole thing, that little slideshow tells you all you need to know. And, like, the game is Fountainhead, right?
Yeah.
It's not Atlas Shrugged. People who haven't read a fucking book, like, it is Fountainhead, you know?
Tommy says read a book.
And it is why that doesn't work. You know, that's what that game is about.
Well, it's and like it is so like
the twist is there, and it was exciting because at the time in games we weren't seeing a lot of that.
The thing about plot twists is they work once,
right?
Like it is now it is completely ineffective, right? Because I know what's going to happen. I don't want to say it's meaningless because it was impactful at the time. But when you know that the plot twist is coming, then just...
But Bioshock is more about this utopia and why it fails.
Right, and they basically, they give you the beginning of the story and the end of the story, like, before you ever take control of your character.
Yeah, for the most part.
Well, not before, because, like, there's some... You know what I mean? Right, before you start going, like, off and doing shit, like, you have the beginning of the story and you have the end of the story. The end of the story...
it's once you're in the bathysphere, which is like right away.
Yeah, like once you are in Rapture, that's the end of the story. Yeah, that's what happened, right? Because like when you're descending into Rapture, like it is showing like all the buildings or whatever you want to call them, like all the little sections of Rapture. Yeah. And like you have Andrew Ryan talking to you about the greatness that is Rapture, the greatness that Rapture could be. Mm-hmm. Even the fucking statue at the in the lighthouse. Right. Is like it's no like gods
good flow into the city or whatever,
and he's like no gods, no kings, only man.
Right.
And then you go down in the Rapture, and like this is where like you come out of the bathysphere. This is where man's hubris is let in, and it's just that, and a lot of the time, like I don't remember how old I was, like 22-year-old Ryan wasn't really paying attention to that, right?
Right.
But like when you look back on it, like you realize that like Tom said, like all like Brian and Atlas and all that other shit, it's like it's inconsequential because like everything that you need to know about what Rapture was supposed to be and what it became, you find out like immediately.
Right. Like the whole thing with Andrew Ryan and all that, like, that matters to the character Jack, but like I don't really know anything about Jack.
Like Jack is a blank slate, right? Yeah. He's like he is, and another thing about Jack is like, in a very limited way, Jack is who you decide he is, right? Like, is he a monster or is he a savior?
Right.
But at the same time, like the story of Bioshock, the story of Rapture, is bigger than Jack. It's bigger than Andrew Ryan. Mm-hmm. it is the idea that because the Rapture is built on the idea that Rapture is meant to be an objectivist utopia, right? Which, wouldn't work. But like,
Rapture seemed fine.
Huh?
Rapture seemed fine.
I get for between the years of 1940 and 1958, yeah. But it's a bigger message about why that, like, there is a level of selfishness that people can have that is healthy, right? Like, it is important to, at times, be selfish because you need to look out for yourself and take care of yourself.
so you can take care of other people around you.
Like, and not take care of people at the expense of yourself. And it can be a hard thing to do, but like the idea of Rapture takes that to the extreme, whereas like, you know, it's every man for himself, and the greatest will prosper, and the people who aren't so great we'll just build on top of them.
I mean, it's the same reason that like no taxation on a federal level wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, why would you do for others when you could just do for yourself?
Yeah.
You know, it's a very similar concept, but
the Bioshock in all iterations is an example of very, very, very effective environmental storytelling. And I think, and one of the reasons why I think that, like, Bioshock 2, like many people, was my least favorite in this trilogy, but I do think that it is also important in the way that, like, not only are you visiting Rapture for a second time, but you're visiting Rapture from a different perspective. And you are seeing things, or you are doing things differently than you would if you weren't a Big Daddy, which, by the way,
sucks.
Yeah. Because, like, again, side note, but, like, Big Daddies in Bioshock 1, like, dude, it would be so cool to be that strong and like, be so fucking invincible. But then you become a Big Daddy, and then, like, I'm the puniest of I'm the runt of the Big Daddies, right? Yeah. And that's, I don't know, that's dumb. But, you know,
I don't want to talk about it too much, but like the DLC Minerva's Den for Bioshock 2 was written by Steve Gaynor.
Yeah.
Who went on to make Gone Home.
Yeah.
Like, play that. Which
is another really, I think Gone Home is one, I actually heard someone say recently that I don't remember who I said it or I don't remember who said it or in what context the conversation was in, but I remember someone saying that Gone Home is not a video game, which is
fine.
I mean, it is whatever. I don't know what people's definitions of video games are.
Yeah.
I mean, I play visual novels, so my bar is real low.
Well, it's not a matter because you're like that's arguing quality, which is, you know, it's relative.
Well,
but,
like,
I mean, I think as time goes on, we have to get away from the term video game.
Yeah.
You know,
but you know, Gone Home is another example of storytelling that is effective, and yet it's like you get the parts of the story that you interact with. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, like Gone Home, I feel like I like Gone Home a lot.
Yeah. That is a good 2 hours.
But like there are many games that do what Gone Home does. Yeah. You know, and there are many games that do it better than Gone Home does.
I feel like Edith Finch was more effective with its storytelling than Gone Home was.
It's such a different story, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's way different, and Gone Home does things that Edith Finch does not do that I really do like.
Yeah.
Specifically with the environment, in that, and it's just from a nostalgia standpoint, but like finding a TV guide.
Yeah. Because
the game takes place in the 90s.
Yeah.
With shows that came on at that time listed in there,
That's
and finding Super Nintendo cartridges and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah.
Like I like that about Gone
Home.
But like the story of two lovers that ran away because they could not be, like, you know, there's plenty of things that have done that.
That's a trope at this point.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would really like to be touched on as a story or a narrative that you haven't seen?
That's a good question.
I know it's like, yet again, one of those things kind of hard to think about on the spot. Because, like, because, like, I mean, obviously, I go for things with story. I go things with stories that I find interesting or I can connect to.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a unique thing, but, like, my interests seem to be varied compared to a lot of other people I, like, talk to.
Right.
And I, like, to kind of touch upon, like, how, like, Celeste did anxiety, I view anxiety disorders, as, like, it's an ongoing struggle. Like, you're never going to actually, like, just beat it, but you are going to learn how to navigate it and realize when things are getting too much, and, like, you know, you're just going to have, like, you learn how to deal with it or tame the beast to some extent.
Well, and that's part of Celeste. It's not about getting rid of this other part of her. It's about
Well, you said climbing the mountain.
existing with this other part of yourself.
Okay. Because I haven't played it, so you're like, you're gonna climb the mountain. So it seemed like, okay, well, I beat it. Like I climbed the mountain. And with anxiety, it's more of like
there's always another mountain.
Yeah, exactly. With anxiety disorders, it's like you may have climbed this mountain, but you see all the other mountains and coming ahead.
Yeah.
And some you don't see. And
well, even it's less like once you beat it, you go back to the same mountain. You know, but
yeah, I guess I want to see more stuff like that. I think like really touched in like especially like visual novels. Because they say like stress and stuff like that, and some of it's like culturally different because of how they view like mental health and also just sick situations.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, but I would love to see like more because I've seen a lot of Western RPGs that like have Western visual novels that have like characters with anxiety.
Yeah.
But it's never like really about that or how to deal with it or how like what may works for one person because there's not like one cure for it or anything like that. Everything's different for other people. I'd like to see something more where it's like you see more of people's path with it, not just like that character has it.
Yeah, I think that genre, while it has been growing, it's been growing very slowly, right? Over many, many years. And like, I guess what I'm getting at is like you see games like, I don't know, Clive Barker's Jericho and you see shit like Vin Diesel in a video game, right? What I'm getting at is like in more popular genres, you get, and those weren't good games, but you get like experts of a certain craft that are willing to dip into this new media.
John Woo's Stranglehold.
Exactly. And I think with visual novels, what seems to be like the most obvious end to that genre, not end, but like, you know, a point that it inevitably will reach, is that at some point, that because it is growing, even though it's growing slowly, I think at some point it will reach a point where like you're gonna have somebody like Cormac McCarthy or Bret Easton Ellis who's like, you know what, I'm gonna make one of those.
A visual novel by Stephen King.
Exactly. Like if he had a visual novel that was penned by somebody,
this well-known author,
right? Like you could potentially see something like that, you know. Whereas it's typically penned by a writer who is paid very little, very frequently on a Japanese team, translated to English, which you know can hurt a lot of literature. You know? Especially with video game literature, I talked about Long Story Short or like Eco Castle in the Mist. Like those are both very poorly translated, you know. Like, but I think like that's an inevitability for that genre. At some point, there will be some author that wants to do that, you know.
I would like to see a game that talked about being a person of color in the age of the internet.
Watch _Dogs 2.
So, Watch Dogs does touch on that a little bit, but it is not like for example, like when you go to fake Google with your black friend that works there,
right?
Like he touches on the fact that there's lack of diversity in Silicon Valley.
But that's it.
That's kind of but like the Watch Dogs 2 is so filled with all these different kinds of social commentary that like because it talks about that and it talks about because like at some point you talk to a councilwoman who's trans and like she's worrying about some scandal that directly involves her being trans,
right?
And then there's like all this other stuff that she like there's like you have like one of the members of your hacker group is on the autism spectrum and like he's being treated shitty by other people because of that. So there's all these different things that are being touched on in this narrative space.
That has nothing important to say about any of them.
Yeah, like
other than that's not right.
Yeah, like they touch on all of these things on a surface level.
Right.
And again, like I think that like when Marcus makes that observation, like nobody here looks like us.
Yeah.
Like that was relatable, and I was like, ha.
Right.
But like at the same time, it's like there was nothing of substance that happened after that. Right.
Yeah.
And I would like to see a game whose narrative is like a substantial part of the narrative is that experience. I can't think offhand of anybody that I would trust to do that well, but at the same time, like I would like to see that.
Yeah.
And again, this is more for my desire to have stories that speak to me, like
And that's
personally.
and
I want more, and I like stories. Like again, like there are stories that like I cannot identify with, but I am deeply moved by. But I would also like to have a story where, like, yeah, you know, this experience is really familiar.
Yeah.
And
you've not felt that?
I think that the closest that I had felt to that is still not what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like I went through Mafia 3 recently, and I've been called the N-word in public before, but like at the same time, it's like
not that time period, or
I haven't been called the N-word in public in the late '60s,
right?
Where, like, and like, don't get me wrong, being called the N-word in any time period is awful, but you know, I like my experience of being called the N-word is typically on the other side of a computer screen.
Sure.
Or also, you know, I like seeing like people like unironically posting pictures of people in blackface and things like that, and being inundated with that on like on a scale that wasn't possible before the internet existed.
Mm.
So I mean, a story that like that tackles that, I would like to see that. So.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I mean, just to like piggyback off of that, I mean, on the LGBT like community and stuff like that, there is like a lot of history about it that a lot of people don't know, like the Stonewall riots and things like that. That I think that could easily fit into a game narrative and be done respectfully.
But like, to me, with these games, I'm just like, does it benefit from being a game? Does that narrative or message benefit from being a game?
Well, for me personally, I think it. Well,
because you could make a great movie.
Yeah,
a great book.
Well, I've seen many great movies that like tackle the exact thing that I'm talking about. Yeah. But I also want something that I can engage with directly,
right?
In the way that in a way that only a video game can allow me to do so. I mean, and again, like, and that this is not to say that the stories told in movies and books and essays and all that aren't effective.
Yeah.
But the way that I like to engage is through direct interaction.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know them through like books and videos and stuff like that too. But yeah, it would be like not everyone's gonna like watch or read or listen to those things. There's nothing really like the interactive out there to like that could really relate those experiences and emotions.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, is there a point to it being interactive?
By the way, Ubisoft, I just wrote Watch Dogs 3 for you.
And I do agree with a lot of them. There is a point to it being interactive, right? But like Celeste, other than encouraging me to beat a very hard game, the story, I would have been totally fine with it being a little comic strip.
And I think that, then we think about how many times it has been both.
Right.
You know, right. Where like they would like a comic was supplemental to whatever story is being told in the game.
Yeah.
So I think that in many of these cases, like I think it can, and maybe sometimes should be both.
Yeah.
But again, I like to directly interact with, because I think that all the stories that have moved me the most, like for example, I've talked many times about how moved I was by The Walking Dead Season 1. I would have still had a very strong emotional response to it if I were just watching it like as a film.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of me actually choosing Lee's last words to Clementine was like really impactful to me.
Sure. No, I totally get that. I think if anything that I want like to be created that has yet to be created is like, did either of you play Emily is Away?
No, but I've heard you talk about it many times.
Same here.
So I really love Emily is Away.
Well, maybe in a way I did play it because I was a teenager in the early 2000s.
Yeah, everybody should check it out.
Yeah.
It's free, so just
just go do it.
Go have a look.
You have no excuse.
Especially if you are of the same age as Ryan and I.
But not me, because I just turned 19.
No, not you.
I just turned 19.
Like seriously, not
I do
you.
think that
game is made for a very, very specific audience.
Like, we're not that far removed in years, but there is like a definite
and it has nothing to do with being alive at that time. Yeah. It has to do with being a teenager at that time. You know, the whole game takes place on AOL Instant Messenger.
Okay.
And that's what you're doing. You're chatting with people. That's the entire fucking game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a time machine, man. Like I play that, and I feel like I'm in our upstairs hallway at my parents' house, you know, on the fucking computer.
Is it AIM or the AOL forums?
No, it's AIM.
Okay.
And like, I would just like to see more of that, like, for other age groups, you know, like, because like that game hit so many people so hard, and like, it sucks there's not a game like that for Sinead or for my fucking dad or whatever, you know, like more things like that I think could be very cool.
I mean, granted, yeah, there is an age difference. I mean, I've never played the game. I don't really know what the storyline is on there.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I definitely had like my AIM, my screen name, put like you know, away messages and stuff.
Sure.
I can remember that. But I mean, yeah, I probably.
But it's like it's down to like bands and whatever little icon that you have on there.
I think when, you know, like as far as teenagers are concerned, like a couple of years is a huge difference.
Exactly.
But as I was about to say, is I probably remember it a lot different than you guys because I also remember like the rapid change from like really talking on AIM to like linking people to our like live journal or Zanga and then going to MySpace and Facebook and that progression of social media. Just
right there, like the fact that you said MySpace,
right?
Like
I never had a MySpace.
Yeah,
never.
And so like as adults, like as adults, like the age difference between us doesn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah.
But like as like when you're an adolescent who is like becoming aware of different things at almost an alarming rate.
Yeah.
Like an age gap of 2 or 3 years is huge.
And it's got like little nods to things that like you're nostalgic for that you don't realize that you're nostalgic for, like Blink-182 or like The Matrix, like shit that like I really don't care about. Like I like The Matrix, but like I don't give a fuck about Blink-182. But the memory of that time and then being a big thing like that's interesting to me. You know, like it's an interesting effect because
I think about how easy my life was when I was listening to that first Blink-182 album.
Yeah, like I wish there were more conversations for that game just so I could play it more. Yeah, you know, just so I could feel like I'm existing in that time for a longer period of time. And, like, I don't think there are really games like that for people who are in their 50s and 60s, or for people who are 15, you know? That could be cool, I think.
I kind of want to play it and, like, discuss, like, my opinion.
You probably,
versus y'all's different.
You would probably be more into Emily is Away 2, which I could not get into, because the internet has progressed a little bit more by that point. There is like MySpace equivalent and stuff like that in that.
Yeah, I just want to see what my perception of it is and how it differs from y'all. Just because I know that obviously we experienced AIM in both.
I mean, I think the conversation in the game you can relate to because it's just about relationships. You know, anybody can relate to that.
I mean, that was like almost all of my conversations on AIM. Right. That's what it was for, right?
But it's a very interesting thing. It's a time capsule, man.
Yeah.
And like that is something that like you cannot get from a movie. Yeah. You can to an extent, right? You go see mid-90s and it feels like our childhood.
But it's more effective to watch movies that were actually made in the mid-90s.
Right, exactly, right? Whereas this
having not seen mid-90s,
and you're hearing like the exact sounds from AIM, you know, and from
I can still hear them.
XP and stuff like that.
I feel like I can hear them. That's
it's fucking nuts.
Oh man, like hearing that and being like, "Who messaged me?" And then like, and then like somebody you didn't want to talk to, and you're just like, "Oh."
And the door closing and all that shit.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has to be a very specific thing for specific generations, right? But like, somebody could do it. You know, somebody could make a game for my dad that made him feel like he was fucking 15 again. Somebody can do it. You know.
Yeah, but. Also, a lot of those things that are like supposed to be for like my parents' age group or be like nostalgic for them, like are not. And I'm supposedly thinking of like TV shows that like reference back to stuff. Like I know this is like a very very comedic satire take of it, but like that 70s show.
Yeah.
So my dad and mom both were teenagers in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
They remember what it was like in the 70s, and like my dad likes the show and he can appreciate like the satire and stuff, and he sees that stuff and he thinks it's funny and not accurate in the least bit, I'm not in the. I want to say least.
I think
not,
that
not
there's
accurate.
probably something of value in it.
But yeah, but like
Yeah.
he thought like he likes the nostalgia stuff, and he's like,
It's
oh,
the same thing with like Stranger Things. Is not like representative of my experience in the '80s whatsoever. You know.
I
yeah.
don't really remember the 80s, but
But yeah, but my mom gets.
You don't remember any of the '80s? I guess I am a little bit older than you. But
I think that like what I might be remembering as happening in the 80s probably happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but meanwhile, my mom like hates that show with a passion.
Well, that
Because-
Fez guy is annoying.
Because she's like, I already loved the 70s, and it was way more fun than that show, so it just is really
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah. But like with that, I think
And
Ryan's
so-
right. Like if I watch a show that's set in the '90s versus watching an episode of Seinfeld or something like that, you know, like it definitely feels more authentic.
Yeah.
But you know, I do think that that's where what you guys are saying, like actually experiencing it, actually interacting with it, goes a long way. You know.
Yeah. So, did y'all have any more games you want to talk about, or I have a game?
What's your game?
Is it Stumped 'em?
No, it's a new game.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's a title pending. Did you know? Or
You mean
do
Act
know?
Trivia?
I don't want to use this as our Act Trivia because it's not really planned out, but we can say like Act Trivia prototype.
I don't want to do that. Just go. What's the thing?
I'm gonna ask you a question of do you know,
Mm-hmm.
and if you know the answer, let me know.
Okay, I'm ready.
Do you know which console first had internal storage?
Was it in television?
Video game console.
The television's a video game.
Like I said.
Oh, I thought you said like on television, like on, and I was like, even then I didn't know in television, so either way I was ignorant.
I'm thinking of a bunch that I know don't. But
So was the
there's a
answer
few-
no?
But there's a few that like I question.
If you say no, you just have to get the point because you don't know.
No, I
I'm
mean,
just gonna go like shot in the dark and say Xbox original.
wait. Sega Saturn.
Yep.
Cool.
Wow, cool.
Do you know what the first video game that was given as a cereal box prize?
No, I don't know.
Donkey Kong?
I think that was second.
Chex Quest?
Yep.
Really?
Yes.
Nice.
What do you mean second?
Chex Quest is way newer than Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong, I don't think was ever given in cereal.
Well, well, I just sent away for it, so I don't know if that counts. I mean, I used the order form on the cereal box.
Chex Quest CD was in there.
Okay.
I just assumed it was something earlier than
this-
that, which is why I didn't say it.
This one's pretty. This one's pretty. I guess like specific because I definitely didn't know this. What game was the first playable video game character in?
What?
Like, what game had the first playable female character?
Oh, now it's female.
Female character.
Sorry, I dropped the female. Yeah, but no, first playable female character.
Oh, that's hard.
Metroid?
Miss Pac-Man?
Was it Miss Pac-Man? She's female. Was it Metroid, though?
It's got to go earlier than that, but like...
So it wasn't Metroid, then? Because you're not saying anything.
Miss Pac-Man's older than Metroid, but
yeah,
but like...
I don't think where I was looking up this stuff, or like things I was like Googling, I don't think they were taking Miss Pac-Man into consideration.
I mean,
not-
that's a video game character.
Her name is
pretty
Ms.
old.
Pac-Man.
Why? What did they say?
Typhoon Galley.
What the
Is-
I don't know what
It
that
was,
was.
it was an arcade game,
Who was the woman?
When did it come out?
Yeah.
1985.
And who was the character?
That might predate Miss Pac-Man. When did Miss Pac-Man come out?
It was definitely in the 80s sometime. I want to say 1982.
I mean, Miss Pac-Man was a mod
Yeah.
of Pac-Man, and then they made a cabinet of it, right?
All right,
But like,
Mitchell, calm down.
81.
okay, so I feel like I win then, unless you can find somebody earlier.
I mean, that is Miss Pac-Man.
Like I can think of earlier games,
Yeah.
but like, you know, there's no character in Tennis for Two
Yeah.
or River Raid or anything like
It's,
you know.
Yeah.
Like,
it's Miss Pac-Man. And the person that you
I'll
got
give you the
accepted
point. I'll give you the point.
is a
So I got
fucking
two.
fraud.
At 2-1.
like last
What
time.
was Do you know the first game?
Tommy 2 points.
That's right.
Tell me 2 points.
That's right.
At it again, but he won't get this one. What was the first game played in space?
Tetris.
Oh, I know this, and I don't want to be wrong.
Pong.
No.
Donkey Kong.
I'm gonna just not press that on my boobs.
Nobody cares about your boobs, Shabay.
I know.
I do know this.
Which is good.
I just feel like it was Tetris.
You're probably right. It's probably Tetris. What is it?
StarCraft.
Star what?
StarCraft?
I feel like
I
someone.
guess I didn't know that.
You said StarCraft?
Hmm?
I thought that somebody played Tetris in space. Did someone not play Tetris in
They
space?
may have afterwards.
Huh.
I don't know.
Look up when someone played Tetris in space. Like, why would you wait until StarCraft came out to play a video game in space?
Because they're working, Ryan.
But they've got time to play StarCraft.
Well,
Tommy 2 point strikes again.
well, now I'm 4 points.
What are you talking about?
Well, I got 2 points last time. I got 2 points this time. Now it's 4 points.
That's per game.
So now, at the end of the month, when we do our tally and see what we get, because it's nice time we get something, better be good.
Alright, the thing that I looked up was incorrect. It was Tetris.
Here we go.
So now it's tied.
Well, I had 2 from the previous game, so I'm still
Wait.
technically ahead.
Yeah, he was technically ahead.
What kind of bullshit is this?
She said we're going to tally at the end of the month.
Did she say that?
Yes!
Yes!
I don't remember that. I'm gonna watch the tape. Hold on, let me stop this and watch the tape.
So Tommy is at 4 right now, and you're at 2.5.
Alright.
How's it make you feel?
I mean, I just thought that
Here's the thing. Say I'm at 3. Because I can almost guarantee there's an earlier female character than Miss Pac-Man.
That's playable?
I bet you there is.
no, I mean we can't verify that at this time, so you're at 4 still.
I was like, I was like, I could
I'd
Google
be
it.
amazed if Miss Pac-Man is the first. I'd be amazed.
What was that? 1981.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the arcade one I was talking about was 85, so.
So
Alright, so I need to work my Googling skills
Yeah, check your
before,
sources, you know.
Yeah.
before next time.
don't ask Jeeves next time.
Yeah.
I got enough shit.
Oh man, geez, you let me down for the last time.
Sure.
But yeah, if there's any like story themes or narratives that you want to see in like games, or or one that you think is unique that is not in any other game, you can let us know on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We also have a Discord that there will be a link to, or you can leave a YouTube comment.
Mm-hmm.
If
You're pretty confident I'm going to put that link in there.
You always do. Yeah, so that's been our show.
Hold on.
What?
Where else are we?
I didn't say where we all were. I was about to right now.
Okay.
I'll just say where you can comment.
Okay.
So yeah, you can always find us on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Pornhub.
Still funny, huh?
I hate you so much.
Every time.
That's been our show. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.